It's Missing Persons Week, and each year more than 38,000 Australians are reported missing. Bung is one of the 2,600 long-term missing persons in Australia.
It was June 2nd, 2011, and 13-year-old Bung headed off to school less than 10 minutes away from her Melbourne home, but she never made it. At first, many assumed she'd simply run away. But it wasn't long before things seemed much more sinister.
Police formed the Puma Task Force and launched several public appeals. But as time went on, hope began to fade.
I just want to know she's still all right.
Her heartbroken parents held on to the hope that she'd be found and clung dearly to those final moments when they last saw their precious girl that fateful morning.
She walked out the door and first time she said, "Bye, Mum," and walked out the door and turned back again and "Bye, see you," and give me a smile.
After leads came up short and years passed, the task force to find Bung was abandoned and her disappearance remains a chilling mystery and a parent's worst nightmare.
And Bung's stepfather, Fred, joins us now from Melbourne to share his story. Fred, thanks so much for your time today. Can you take us back to the day that Bung went missing? What do you remember?
Well, it was just a normal day like every other day. I'd come home from work and Bung was getting ready to go to school and having breakfast, and I've got a room out the back, so I was out there, and she said goodbye to Mum and said, see you later, see you this afternoon. Yeah, just a normal day, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing special, nothing different, just an average day. Wasn't raining too much, it was cool, but that was about it. No, nothing out of the ordinary.
It really is that most horrible moment when things go from the mundane to the unthinkable. When did you realise that something was wrong?
Well, it was in the afternoon. I had been up sort of most of the day, and it come around 3:30, about 3:45, and Nid said that, have you seen Bung? Had Bung come back from school yet? Because she was every day coming back at the same time, always on time. And I said, no, I haven't seen her. And she said, oh, what's going on? And at about that same time, one of her girlfriends, the army from school, rang up and said, don't forget to tell Bung tomorrow that there's football training or something like that on. And I said, well, why didn't you tell her at school? And she said, well, she wasn't at school today. And that's sort of when the hammer dropped and something was wrong, because she never missed school and was always home on time. So basically, after speaking to Naomi, I went straight to the school to see what was going on, whether she'd been to school or she hadn't been to school, and the teachers were all pretty casual about it, and yeah, they checked, and in the end, within 4 o'clock, 4:30, it was pretty much panic stations.
Wow.
We're just looking at some photos of her, so beautiful. A $1 million reward was put on offer in 2014, along with an offer of immunity from prosecution. Were there any leads from that?
No, nothing new had come up from that. It was the same rumours or, I guess, things like that, but there was nothing actually new, no new leads, nothing special came out of that. It was all still very quiet.
And of course, the ripple effects from something like this can also be awful, Fred. You mentioned Nid before, Bung's mother. She's moved back to Thailand now. How have you been doing since she made that decision?
Well, it's been tough, but it's something we understood that she had to do. She's struggling here, especially at the start.
Yeah.
I was travelling a lot, twice or three times a year over, or she was coming here. We had that opportunity. We were talking, on the phone every day. But yeah, it hasn't been easy, and now the situation's changed again. So it's sort of kicked home the fact that it's a bit more difficult now. Yeah.
Also joining us now is Loren O'Keeffe from the Missing Persons Advocacy Network. Loren, good morning to you. Your brother went missing in 2011. His remains were found in 2016. How tough was that 5-year period?
It's absolute torment. Human beings are not programmed to be comfortable with uncertainty. And for that reason, ambiguous loss is considered to be the most traumatic form of grief that there is, and the most unmanageable kind of stress, because unlike with traditional loss, like, say, bereavement, where it can get easier over time, ambiguous loss doesn't. So it's really important that the public understands that.
I guess, Loren, that's part of the reason you started the Missing Persons Advocacy Network. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so very quickly after Dan went missing, we identified a major gap in support and guidance for families like ours. So it got to a point where so many families of other missing people were reaching out and asking for advice that I started MPAN to create awareness for missing loved ones in a way that humanises them and actually engages the public, whilst providing the families and friends left behind with the practical support that they need and the emotional support.
You've actually launched a podcast as well called What's Missing. What's that about?
Yeah, What's Missing is really an exploration into what it's like when someone disappears. The people left behind have to deal with police, and they have to deal with media and psychics and hoaxes. And they have to do that whilst navigating the financial toll, the administrative obstacles, and the psychological torment. And it's these sort of behind the scenes lived experiences that the public doesn't typically get an insight into. So we're really thrilled that Casefile has given us their massive international platform to tell these stories.
And Fred, just back to you, over the years there have been reported sightings of Bung. How does that make you feel? And do you actually believe that she's alive? Do you still hold out hope?
Well, we definitely still hold out hope and believe that that she has to come home one day. There's no hard evidence or anything there that anybody's found that to say otherwise, and we can't give up hope that she is not going to come back or that she's out there somewhere. We try not to think that what is happening or what she's going through, but yeah, we. As I say, there hasn't been a lot of sightings over the last lot of years, but miracles happen, different things. People have been missing for a long time and shown up in different countries and things like that. So we definitely believe and hope that she's be coming back one day.
And Loren, are you hopeful this podcast may also solve some of these missing persons cases, might help?
Absolutely. I mean, that's ultimately the goal with any of this work associated with missing persons. However, our focus really is to give a voice to the families and friends that are left behind, because they're typically the ones that are unseen and unheard and forgotten, because understandably when someone disappears, all of the focus is on that missing individual, and we don't really get prompted to think about the plight of those left behind. So that's really our main goal with What's Missing, to give a voice to the families and friends that are living with this ambiguous loss day in, day out.
What's Missing will be available wherever you get your podcasts. Fred and Loren, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.